Good day, guys. Okay, so in this video I want to talk about drawing graphs, right? Plotting graphs, especially in your matriculation physics lab sessions. So here I have three data points. I have x, y, and z, right? Say I want to plot a graph between x and y. So let's do that. I'll just go insert, and then I would go to chart. I would choose scatter. Right, and I can press select data. I can add. I call the series y against x, y against x. I can type. I can choose the x values. I'll just choose that column. I can choose the y values. I'll just choose that column, and it automatically does that for me. All right. What if I have what if I have two graphs to draw, or two sets of data points? Because they have the same x values, I can just add them here as well. So for example, I would put this here, z against x, and then the x values the same thing, x values, and then the y values, this time it is the z values. Okay, now if you look at this graph, it's relatively confusing, and the reason being is because you don't know which one's which. So how do we make how do we differentiate them? Well, one of the tools that you can use is called a legend. See, the legend will tell you what data point corresponds to which graph. Okay. What else is missing? Well, you are missing a chart title. You can always just add that. So what you can do is maybe variations of y and z values relative to x values. There we go. You can add an axis title. So I want the one below horizontal, so I can have x there, x values. All right. I can add a trend line as well, because that's useful, right? Especially when you're comparing your experimental data and your experimental graph to some theory, say Ohm's law, right? I can add a trend line, a linear one, most probably, and with that trend line, what I can do is I can set the intercept to 0. For example, Ohm's law, it doesn't have any y-intercept, so you should always set it to 0, or at least if it seems fit, you can always just set it to 0. You can also display the equation on the chart. What equation is this? This is the equation for the trend line. Now, in matriculation, they might call it the line of best fit or best fit line. Okay. What else can you add? Well, last thing is that you can add the r-squared values. Now, the r-squared values is something that I would let you ask your statistics lecturer or maths lecturer more clarification on. Okay. So with that, let me just show you again how I do it for the z against x. Okay, I press the orange data point because that's the one I want to use. I add a trend line. I press linear because I want it linear, right? I want it linear. Double click on the trend line. I set the intercept to 0. I want it to display the equation on chart, and I want it to display the r-squared values as well. So there we go. Okay, so anything else that you can add? Well, if you calculated the errors for each one of them, you can always just add error bars. Okay, you can add data labels for each of the data points. Let me just show you an example. If I say, okay, let me just put it in the left side, so those are the values x and y. I can have data callout where they give you the x and y or z values. All right, below, above, it's up to you to choose. Okay, so just to show you that this is possible and this can be done, right? And you can definitely just copy this chart, right? Copy and paste it on Word. Okay, so what else can I do? Well, I can also change the values of the axis, the beginning of it and the end of it, right? If I double click, oh no, if I double click on that gives me a scaling option, right? Say I want the minimum to be 0.5 rather than 0. I can just press enter, and that starts with 0.5. Okay, I can do the same. Let me just show you again with the y-axis. See, the minimum is 0. Let's do the maximum instead. This time the maximum is 48 here, I know for a fact, but it goes up to 60, so you might want to change it to just 50.0. There we go. You can play around with the scaling just so that your trend line covers the whole area of your chart, of your grid lines. Okay, so that is all. Thank you very much.